press release from the Redskins. They are retiring Redskins as the team name, but they have not announced what the next name will be.
It's still under the Redskins logo with everything. Statement from the Washington Redskins football team. The Washington Redskins, Innova Sports Performance Center at Redskins Park. I mean, they haven't taken any of that stuff out of their team, statement.
They're still right there on the letterhead.
It's kind of bizarre.
It'll probably take some time for them to change.
And no new name.
No, not yet.
Maybe they'll announce it later this afternoon.
Yeah, I mean, it could be at noon, 2, 5.
Maybe this is the first move. The 9 a.m. say we're retiring Redskins, and then.
Well, it implies that they haven't completed this review. It says today we're announcing we'll be retiring the Redskins name and logo upon completion of this review. So they haven't completed the review, is the way that I read it.
Is this just?
How long does a review take?
I don't know.
I mean, it's been 10 days.
Is this just a statement to pacify the sponsors to bring them back on board?
Yes, so they don't go away.
So that's all this is.
FedEx said that they don't even want their name attached to the stadium.
Yeah, but my understanding was that was unless things have been changed by the end of the season. They had given them a year to drop the name.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So I don't know. My guess is this is just to appease the sponsor.
Maybe they won't change the name until next year.
Right. That's what I'm thinking.
I mean, that's a possibility.
They may have come to a conclusion it's just going to take too much time, or they may believe, when we were talking earlier about market research and how all of a sudden in the last couple of weeks people are hearing about Red Wolves, they probably want to find out what name is going to appeal to the young kids, because we want those young kids to be fans for 50 years. We want them to be excited to go out and get gears, to go out and get hats, to go out and get gear, and then stick with this franchise for years and years. So you don't want to go with an old codger name.
But then who's Mike Jones talking to?
I don't know.
Well, he just might have had a source who thought that was going to happen.
Well, obviously he did. I'm just wondering. Someone was adamant that they were going to change the name today.
They were going to reveal the new one, too. Maybe they will later, but it certainly doesn't read that way.
But by the way,
this is how silly.
I did expect it to kind of happen this way, which was just a little innocuous
statement
press release.
Yeah, but here's the thing. If they actually came up with a new name, that is a presser. That's an unveiling. That's where you have the jerseys,
right?
The
you have
helmet.
A couple of players. You have Haskins.
You got everything. Yeah, that's not just a statement. When they announce the new name, that's going to be massive. That's going to be a press conference where it's packed. No social distancing.
Snyder has to be there for that one.
How does this make you feel? We can open this up to callers, 800-636-1067. To me, it makes me feel a little empty inside. Like we already know that they were going to move on from the name. Like, what were the chances, by the way, even before these reports over the weekend, that Snyder was going to all of a sudden show up and say, you know what, we did our study, sticking with the team name. We knew that wasn't going to happen. So all this is an official acknowledgement that they're moving on from Redskins. But it leaves
but we already knew that.
Right. It leaves me feeling a little empty inside that they haven't gone to the next step.
Yeah. Well, they're just not prepared to. It's just been too quick. That's the bottom line. They can't make that change like that.
So like you said, I mean, in the statement it says we want to keep our sponsors. That's the main.
Yes.
The main
point. In fact,
point.
It's the first name they mention.
Right. Sponsors before fans.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're right. It could take a year. Maybe they don't announce it until wintertime.
Maybe they'll do a whole bunch of polls and all that stuff to try to figure it out. Because I just found it impossible to believe that Dan could be won over by a name like Red Wolves in like the last 3 or 4 days.
Yeah, but again, and I agree with your assessment. It's probably very unlikely that they've done that market research on that yet.
They haven't.
But if there is something that's going to drive him, it's probably money, right? So they're going to look at some choices, and they're going to say, hopefully have, the best advertising firm and the best marketing firms, and then they're going to say, this is what this name means, and this is what this name means. So I could see, even though it's a late entrant to the names. I mean, I had never heard of Red Wolves up until like a week ago.
Right.
Maybe it could be the choice.
I think it could be, but I don't think it's going to happen overnight. I think if it's the Red Wolves, it's going to take some time. First of all,
they're going to have to battle. Maybe that's what it's going to be. They just got to battle it out in the courts.
They got to battle it out.
What's going to suck is if this statement just kind of stays there, right? And it stays there for weeks. Like there's nothing else going on for weeks. Like
well, expect that.
It could be months, and then you're just in limbo for months.
I'm still surprised that like they still have the letterhead. Like I'm surprised it doesn't say like Washington Football Club for now. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Or something,
maybe
something
they're
like
stay
that,
on.
a placeholder.
Yeah, but maybe it's going to be like this in the interim, kind of like what you said with FedEx. I wasn't aware that FedEx said that they were going to give it a year. So now they've just bought this time for months to figure out what the name's going to be.
Well, and this is also allows them to bring in new sponsors. You know, the salespeople have to work, and they have to assure them, yes, they are retiring the name. I promise you, so they've gone official. They are retiring the Redskins name. So any potential sponsor out there, that can take that off their list of worries.
Yeah, but you can expect to see the name and the logo, certainly the colors for the next year. That's what it tells me. And then they work on it because once the season starts, you can't change the colors of the uniform.
So are they going to go into the season with? See, I wish they would be more specific and say this is going to be the last season we use the name. It is officially changing. We're retiring it on such and such a date, but we're going to continue on just because of trademarks and legal issues. One last go around.
I would say this: if I was,
or are they going to play with no logos?
If I was a Skins fan and I read this statement and it says Dan Snyder and Coach Rivera are working closely, I wouldn't want my head coach really worrying about stuff like this. Let Snyder and all his underlings deal with this, and the marketing people and the lawyers. I would want my head coach worrying about how I'm going to score touchdowns.
Absolutely.
I don't know why Rivera is so involved. If he is,
he shouldn't be involved. He hadn't even been here.
It doesn't make any sense to me.
He shouldn't, you know.
I understand he's kind of the new Bruce Allen, but you just focus on scoring points.
I'd rather have a committee of ex-players, ex-personnel people, whatever it is. I think season ticket holder, whatever it is.
Look, I don't know how much time Ron actually devotes to something like the team name. I almost feel like he's just a shield for Dan Snyder, and whether or not he's actually involved in talking to Native Americans and military members and consulting team names, Snyder and the organization use Ron Rivera because people seem to like Ron. They use Ron's name as a shield.
Maybe you're right. And I would certainly hope that would be the scenario, because if he's working even 1 second of the day on changing the name, that's a fail.
Because you are right. You are right. He should be working. I mean, right now there's no football. So there's no organized
He should be talking to his coaches and his players on Zoom, working on game plans for week one.
I mean, that's the other thing. We have no idea what's going to happen here with the NFL.
I probably won't even have a season.
I was optimistic a few weeks ago.
I mean, college football's done.
I don't think anybody can be truly optimistic that the NFL is coming back in a starting time when a week from now some teams would be like starting training camp. There's no way that's happening.
They've got a lot to figure out.
I mean, when would the official date be for the Redskins game? I'm going to look it up right now. But, I mean, basically a week from now is when we'd be talking about NFL training camp.
Yeah, I mean, it usually starts late July.
Drabby's accusing me. Drabby, I said this a week ago. I said Rivera's been here for a week. There's no reason for him to be involved in this.
Yeah, I agree. I was screaming that last week. Remember, they should go to Gibbs, and that Ron Rivera's going to be blown out like Jay was, and blown out like Zorn.
I even tweeted it. I said he could be the worst coach we've ever had. We have no idea.
He's all up in this, and he hasn't earned it.
Yeah.
He passed a job interview.
Well, he probably doesn't want to be involved in it.
No, I think he does. I think he does.
Seems like he kind of does. Yeah.
I don't think so. I think he just wants to coach football.
Well, why wouldn't he do that and just say, hey, you know what, you guys handle that.
Well, in that one interview, he basically said, I'm not prepared to talk about it.
But he was lying.
Well, who knows what he was, if he was telling the truth
because the reports came out that they had been working on it for months.
I know, but I don't necessarily believe everything I read.
Yeah.
We believe what people say?
No. Snyder said he's never going to change the name, ever. In caps.
I just think that this statement leaves a lot to be desired. They didn't do anything. They didn't say, we're going to retire the logo now. We're retiring the name now. They're playing with just burgundy helmets for now.
It just tells me
they answered no questions.
It just tells me it's just going to be a long process.
This is really drawing it out.
Well,
All
we
they're
kind of knew
saying
that.
is we're not. we're retiring the name eventually. They don't even say now. I can't even believe it came out on Redskins letterhead. Be honest
it's a big
with you.
nothing.
Huh? It's a big nothing.
It is.
That announcement is a big nothing.
Maybe that's Snyder's way of saying F you. I'll keep the name for another year and we'll deal with it.
But there's no way he can outrun this one. There's no way.
No, the way you outrun it is saying the name we want is name A, and it's going to take a while to actually become official.
Yeah, but eventually you're going to have to do it.
Well, I mean, that's what he's saying.
Yeah.
He's saying we're going to have to do it.
I think the likelihood is they're going to play as the Redskins this year.
Yeah.
And at some point during the season, they'll say next year we're going to be the Red Wolves.
So it's just going to be
That's
awkward.
the likelihood now. That's my gut right now.
So no announcer will refer to them as the Redskins, but they're still going to have the logo and all of that. And it's just going to be weird. It's just like a weird purgatory kind of – it's going to be that way anyway. But that announcement is a dud. They announced nothing. They literally announced nothing. Nothing's changed.
They announced what we already knew was happening.
We already knew they were going to change. I'm actually angry now the more I'm sitting here.
Well, I guess they eliminate the possibility, which we knew
keeping it.
was minuscule, that Snyder was going to merge and say, nah, I'm going to stick with the Redskins.
He couldn't. His hands are tied. He'd have no money.
Right.
So we knew that was an impossibility.
God.
That announcement is a dud. They
Can he
suck
sell
at
the
PR.
team? Can he just sell the team?
They truly
he's not gonna
suck
do
at PR.
Yes.
They're awful at this.
They've always been, or at least under the Snyder era.
I mean, is that supposed to appease anyone? The only thing I can think
Sponsors.
is that was for sponsors, and so that their salespeople can reassure them that if we sign you up for like a 3-year deal, that Redskins name won't be.
And by the way, is that still a lock that those sponsors are going to stay on? Because we heard that they're just tired of dealing with Dan.
Well,
was it all 100% the name? I can't imagine.
FedEx and some of those big ones, but they still need smaller sponsors. You know, maybe Crop Metcalf wouldn't sign on unless that. You know what I mean? You have no idea.
The key sentence, as part of this process, we want to keep our sponsors, fans, and community apprised of our thinking as we go forward. So this is just to let you know what's going on deal. That's what it is. The press conference is just to let you know what's going on, but there's no actual resolution. There's no new team name.
Mm-hmm.